and totally change your life. And if you have PPO private health insurance, the entire program may be covered. Fix your problem right now before it gets any worse. Get clean. Call now and learn more. 877-247-1581. 877-247-1581. 877-247-1581.
At Romika Designs, we're more than just a laser engraving and specialty design company. Much more. I'm Ron Phillips, co-owner of Romika Designs, and if you can dream it, we can probably make it. We can custom laser cut and engrave on nearly all material. Great for one-of-a-kind gifts, home decor, business and specialty items, or personalized and logo designs created just for you or your company. Allow us to become your go-to gift and specialty project partner. Romika Designs can help make your ideas a reality. We're ready to help you design and create that special gift for any occasion or engrave your personal or business logo on just about any product. View our designs at romikadesigns.com or simply email us with your ideas. We specialize in custom design and would be honored to have the opportunity to discuss it with you. Call us at 817-400-4040, email info@romikadesigns.com, or visit us on the web at romikadesigns.com.
Out-of-date carpet giving you the blues? Tired of your old dingy and broken tile? Let my friends at the Floor Store in Cleveland, Texas give your home the makeover it deserves. This is Old Taco Joe coming to you for the Floor Store. Whether it's carpet, tile, wood flooring, or real wood laminate, the Floor Store can cover all of your flooring needs. Located at 405 West Henderson Street in Cleveland, Texas, owner Brent Harris can help. Shower tile, tub surrounds, even backsplashes. Give them a call today at 817-641-9444. The Floor Store, they've got you covered.
Hey travelers, do you want to save money on your next flight? Then pick up the phone and call. That's right, call, because the best prices are not online. They're with SmartFares. See, SmartFares has special deals with the airlines. When they have unsold seats, they use SmartFares to fill them. So you get airline tickets at ridiculously low prices. Our prices are too low to publish online. With the extra money you'll save, you can book another trip or treat yourself to dinner or shopping. So stop searching all of those travel sites to find the lowest price on your next flight. Let one of our SmartFares expert travel agents find ridiculously low prices for you. Call SmartFares today and get the best price on your next flight. Guaranteed. Also, save up to 50% off business and first class tickets.
855-325-1820. 855-325-1820. That's 855-325-1820.
Hey, there's something you forgot to do. It sure is hot. Are you sweating like a dog? Wait, what? Dogs don't sweat. Oh no, you forgot to get your window tinted. Whether it's the kitchen window that sits in the sun for the hottest part of the day, or you just got new wheels, call Sharp Window Tinting in Burleson. 817-615-9379, or look them up on the web, sharpwindowtint.com.
You'll hear me and I'll hear you. So we're on there right now, but music. There you go.
Good evening, folks. I'm Angelo Rocha, and I am your host of Vet for Vets, a show where I interview and shine a spotlight on local Johnson County veterans and their families. Our special guests will reminisce and hopefully open up about their funny, wild, amazing, and emotional moments from their life before, during, and after the military. Today, my veteran guest is Anthony Johnson, aka AJ, as some people know him by. He's a former E7 Master Sergeant, and he's our current Johnson County Veterans Services Officer. And he's actually still on active reservist. So before we get started, AJ, I just want to mention a special announcement that I do as part of my show. If you're a veteran in crisis or you're concerned about one, please call the free suicide hotline at 988. Yes, that's 988. Then you press 1 to connect to a real qualified person that will support you in your time of need. Okay? Or you can text 838-255. If there's one thing to take away from today's show, would be that you are not alone. The Veterans Crisis line works, and it's there for you. Okay, your life has meaning. Your life does matter. Your life means so much to so many people. Do not give up. So, without further ado, here is AJ. How are you, AJ?
Hey, what's up? Doing good.
So,
Good.
how you love doing your new job there at the Veteran Services?
It's a very rewarding job. You work with a lot of different folks that come in that need services. A lot of veterans coming in that just want to tell their story. That maybe it's just they just want to talk and they want to connect with another fellow veteran. You know, we have over 80 years plus of military experience in our office. We've all got at least 20 years. There's 4 of us that work, 2 in the Burleson location and 2 in the Cleveland location. And combined, we have about 80 plus years of military experience across the Marine Corps, the Air Force, and the Army.
Oh, that's awesome. So, who was the youngest person you've ever had there?
Oh, you know what? We have a couple of the OEF and OIF guys, the Operation Iraqi
Freedom.
and Enduring Freedom folks, the guys and girls that come in. So we've had probably some early 20-year-olds.
Okay, now here's the big question: who was the oldest person
Man.
you've gotten to help?
Well, we've got some Korean War guys, and then we've got some the Vietnam veterans are actually getting up there. You
nice.
know, the 60s and 70-year-olds. So I have yet to really see. I don't think I've seen a World War II veteran.
You
yet.
know World War II
I
veterans,
know
though.
my grandfather,
Your grandfather,
Ralph Bailey, World War II veteran, going on 99 years old. Just had a
Wow.
birthday, so just
That's
turned 99.
incredible.
So one of the men that really inspired me to go into the military.
So we're actually going to talk about that in a little bit. So where did you actually grow up?
So I grew up in a town called Longview, Texas.
Longview, where's that at?
It is just east, about 2.5 hours straight east of here, 170 miles, just close to Tyler, East Texas, by Louisiana, about 45 minutes from Shreveport.
Oh, no. So you're a Texas guy. I'm a Yankee, just so you know. I'm
Okay,
from the
all
East
right,
Coast. I'm
well,
from
you
New York.
know.
I know you're like, how the hell did a New York guy end up down here?
Yeah, congratulations on landing judge again.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, a lot of money. So,
So what kind of parents did you have growing up?
you know, I grew up bass fishing and hunting and just going to school. And my dad had an electrical business, CBM Electric. I grew up when I wasn't in school. I was either fishing at Lake of the Pines, or we were hunting, or I was doing electrical work. I was cheap labor. I was helping wire houses. I was digging ditches, and doing all that fun stuff. Just being a kid. So I grew up in a very good Christian home.
Yeah.
We went to a church called Marbley Baptist Church growing up. My parents still go there. And just I feel like just being raised just to grow up and be a young boy, climbing fences, climbing trees, catching grasshoppers and lizards, and hunting and fishing, and just enjoying childhood.
As a veteran, not many people get a chance to come on the radio and discuss family or about their time in veteran. If you can say some words about your parents and what they meant to you growing up, as you are right now at the age you're at and what you've been through, without cheering up or getting emotional about your family, how would you describe them to other people?
I would say stubborn, determined, never give up, no matter what life threw at my parents. Their marriage, my parents have never been divorced. I've seen them through thick and thin. I've seen life throw some really hard things at my parents, and they never gave up. They always stuck with it. They always trusted in the Lord, even when they were at ends, even when there was tension, even when it seemed like the world was coming down on us. And there was times like that. My dad was just a stubborn, I call him a stubborn old fart.
But in
He's
a
just
good way.
stubborn- just
In a good way.
Men of iron, men that just would
He was
not.
ornery. He was ornery. He was
ornery.
always-
He was just life hit, and my dad just hit back. He was just not. He would not go down. My grandfather's Big Jack, Mark Johnson, and everybody in my family has code names. We call my dad Snake because he slithered like a snake around the track in high school.
So what's your nickname?
I really don't. I
You
got to
don't
go by
have one?
age.
I guess
go
we'll
by
have to
age.
bring your dad or your grandpa in here so he can tell us what your nickname was.
In the military, they call me I was really a quiet person in the military. They call me the silent defender. They call me defender.
Nice.
So, but yeah, just life would hit them, and they just, they go down, they get back up, and they hit back, and they're just ornery, and they just refuse to let life, no matter what happened, just let life beat them down. And I've seen them where they were pretty beat down, but they just never gave up. And that's something that has stuck. And they always knew how to have fun. They were always family people. Dad would cut us loose from doing electrical work. We'd go fishing. He was big on just spending quality time with me and my brother, my sister.
That's what I was going to talk about next.
Yeah.
Was your siblings? What kind of siblings you've had?
So I'm the oldest of three. I have a younger sister, Andrea, and I have a younger brother, Arthur.
Arthur and Adria. How are you? Hopefully they're listening.
But yeah, they might be. We'll see. They're all in Longview. So my whole family, my wife's family, all live in Longview still. So we're the only ones that are kind of transplanted out here in the DFW area.
Oh, nice. So what kind of kid were you growing up? Were you like the bookworm, super smart type? Were you the sports type? Were you one of those people, like you said, you love working on vehicles, you're an electrician, you're a welder? What kind of kid would you say you were?
Man, I was a straight nerd. I was very, very introverted. I spent hours. I remember spending hours at my desk by myself. I loved reptiles. I was big. I had a pet snake. I was just fascinated by wildlife and animals. I was fascinated by just the details and just, I remember being at Lake of the Pines and putting my head into a little stream and just looking at the little microcosm, the little ecosystem, and just being fascinated by the details of life.
Oh, that's cool. One of our previous guests, his name is John Laurellis, and he was a big anti-poacher man. He loves animals just like you do.
Yeah.
He grew up the same way, loves animals. And I'm glad that you are somebody that supports, animals,
right?
Regardless of how scary they are to some people.
We've got two geckos. We have a crested gecko and a gargoyle gecko
nice.
In our home. We have a little Chihuahua mix named Dukes, named after Frank Dukes from Bloodsport, Jean-Claude Van Damme, 80s movie fame. So, and our geckos are named Galaga, named after a video game, and Link, one of the main characters in the Zelda video game franchise.
Oh no, you got video games. Me and my wife, we do Star Wars, and we do all of that. So my next question is going to be: in high school, did you have any type of mentors or somebody that you can think back as former teachers, somebody that you just went, man, this person really changed my life?
Well, I had Miss Hayes. She was my art teacher in junior high, and she really helped. I loved art, was big into art, and I had some of my a white tiger painting I had hanging up in the Longview Public Library, and I loved it. And then as I got into high school, I had my youth pastor, Paul Coleman, who I believe is still with Marbley Baptist Church. He really helped kind of guide me and mentor me and helped me develop my relationship with Christ.
That's great. That's awesome. Yeah. A lot of people lose, especially what's going on today. They've lost their way.
Right.
And I'm glad we still have people like yourself who've dedicated their life to military service and still have a really good faith in God. So I thank you for your service, for for what you've done, which we're going to talk more about.
Right.
So you gave me this awesome notes, and this right here is incredible because you're one of the first people that actually done this, and I love this.
All right, cool.
And I love this. And if there's something in here that you want to bring up during our show, please just tell me, and we'll talk about it. Because feel free to talk about whatever you want. I'm just giving you topics to answer.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of people that listen in.
Okay.
If you have a question for AJ or AKA Anthony Johnson, you can message us right here. We're live on multiple social media platforms, and just ask Anthony Johnson anything, because he is our Veteran Services Officer here in Johnson County, and this is your prime time to contact him in person and complain.
Yeah, and I'll refer you to my director, Ben Layton, and I will give you
perfect.
Yeah,
there you go.
But
so I usually ask this near the end of the show, but because you're a special guest, super special guest, because normally I usually just bring regular veterans who are just kind of homely and retired and ready to just pretty much live out the rest of their life. You actually are involved with veterans full time. Like our last guest, he actually started a VFW chapter here.
Wow.
So if you were sitting across from a young kid, the young kid had no idea what a veteran is because he's unintelligible and he's probably from he's a Yankee. And if you can tell him what it is to be a veteran and why it's important to respect the veteran, what would you say to him?
Well, I can honestly say that becoming a veteran was something that didn't just happen for me. It was something that over the course of my career, I became to really appreciate those who came before me. And I think a veteran is just someone that wants to just carry the torch, that wants to just protect those that they love and wants to serve just for no other reason. For no reason, we all join for different reasons. We all, maybe we want college, we want education. We're thinking about the benefits, right?
Yes.
But my ideal of a veteran is someone that just, I'm a comic book nerd. So I think about Steve Rogers, Captain America. He just wanted to serve,
That's it.
he just got, take me as I am. I'm weak. I'm, and it's a lot of times my relationship with Christ, but just take me as I am. I just want to do my part. I just want to be counted among them. And that's always kind of been my theme is I just want to serve. I just want to just give back because I see these giants, these men and women, grandmothers, grandfathers, people in the community that just have given so much. And I felt like, somebody needs to take that torch. And also I had a lot to prove in myself. I'm a high functioning autistic. I found that out at the age of 40.
Really?
I'm 41 now, which is crazy because
that's probably what I'm going through, and I don't even realize
yeah.
it.
So I'm a 22-year Air Force veteran, E7 Master Sergeant, who found out he was high functioning autistic.
Would you say the military helped you kind of stabilize yourself, or did it make it worse?
Well, I have a director because I'm an active reservist at the Air Force for the for the 301st Fighter Wing over at the Naval Air Station, NOS, Joint Reserve Base, Fort Worth. It's just Carswell.
Yes.
But Scott Palomino, my director at Airmen and Family Readiness, really kind of pushed me. And I always kind of knew that something was wrong. Like, it's like, am I just being like a wuss about this? There's something mentally kind of off about me. And I went and I got clinically diagnosed after a long years of searching and just wondering.
Because you knew something was off.
I knew something was off.
You just didn't know how bad it was, or
and
what
you don't know. You're
had.
like, am I imagining this? Am I just like being a wuss? Am I just suck it up? Suck it up.
Yeah, I got you. Well, you got the help. I got yourself the help.
Me and my son both got diagnosed.
Oh,
and we're both high functioning autistic, and I have a few other disorders, some related to the military, some I think with autism specifically. But man, I've done 4 tours, two to Iraq, 2 to the Emirates. My last tour was 06 and 07, 11 months outside the wire, things that Air Force was never supposed to do.
Yes.
I was security forces for 18 years, 9 years active duty, 18 total years security forces before I went to family readiness. And I did 11 months, pretty much recon and combat outside the wire patrols with the Army in Iraq, and so saw some stuff, did some stuff, and just like I said, things that when I joined in '99, recruiters like you'll never go outside the base, but 9/11 changed everything. And the way
that's what happened with me because I joined in 98, I believe.
Okay.
And yeah, it's the same situation. I enlisted, and all of a sudden, 9/11, my career trajectory just kind of veered off.
It is
everybody
crazy how I was in Fort Dix, New Jersey. I've got a chipped tooth from the butt of a rifle, M16 rifle, where I remember training. I was all camed up. We're doing our air base ground warfare training, and 9/11 kicks off, and we're like, oh, we're going to go up to New York and help respond. What are we doing? And we didn't know what was going on. And little by little, our unit started getting recalled, and we started getting word of what exactly was going on. And wow, it just changed the way we did business as a military, the way we saw the world. People felt safe, and all of a sudden, there was oh my gosh, what just happened? Did this really happen? And I think people kind of lost that sense of security.
Did you feel the patriotism after 9/11? Did you feel that unifying love for America? Like I felt it because when I was on Fort Sill, we felt that connection. A lot of patriotism was all over, all over the world, to be honest with you. Yeah, I'm wondering if you felt that.
Yeah, I felt like kind of America got kicked in the teeth, It's like a boxing match. Like the boxer takes the first punch. And my son is in karate. He's always telling me you need to know how to take a hit.
Yeah.
And I feel like that day, man, we took a lethal blow. And I feel like it was a rallying cry. And those who got upset wanted to, I'm sure the recruiters had their hands full. All of a sudden you had people like, they're pissed off. They want to go overseas and kick some booty. But I was always, I've always had that warrior mindset. I know for a fact that God has called me to be a warrior, and not necessarily military, but whatever that means, being a warrior for my family, being a spiritual warrior, an ethical warrior. And I've always had that warrior mentality. And it's something that sometimes it's so strong. I can like feel it in my chest. And it just like, I train to be a warrior. Every day I got into fitness. Fitness helps kind of feed that warrior mentality. I'm of the belief, I don't care if you're pushing paper in the military, if you're sitting in an office job, whatever you're doing, if you're a maintainer on the flight line, your security forces, you sign the dotted line. It's like being a police officer. There's a chance that you have to pull your gun and you have to take somebody's life.
Yep.
You're in the military. You're a warrior. You're a soldier. You train for it. And I don't care if you haven't fired a gun in a year, 2 years. If something goes down, you stand up, you be that warrior, and you defend those lives and you protect this nation no matter what you do in the military. Because you're a soldier. To me, if you're signed up in the military, you're a soldier. And
That's right.
we do the things that soldiers do.
And I did the same thing
Right.
you said.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did my duty.
I prepared like, okay, there is somebody overseas, a young, I remember thinking this when I was 21, 22, like there's a young 21, 22-year-old overseas training to take my life.
Yeah.
And I'm training to take his.
They're probably younger than you.
Yeah. And we
They're probably
might
15, 14.
we could meet somewhere on some foreign land, foreign soil. And we're preparing to meet in battle. And I always kind of had that, in my mind of like, I take it very serious. When I take martial arts, I take self-defense very serious. I take those kind of warrior arts. I always take it very, very serious.
You just never know. You never know when something
and it's a
can
wild,
happen.
wild world. I think J.R. Tolkien in Lord of the Rings. And I go back, you never know what your world's gonna bring when you step outside your door.
I think you are a nerd because
I am. I've quoted like Spider.
You don't look like a nerd.
I've got a Captain America tattoo on my shoulder.
Do you?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So it says here that you joined the Air Force in 1999 after high school.
Right.
On September 8th, 1999, you came in as an E1. Now, I got a question here. Why did you join the military?
Well, for a couple of different reasons. Number one, I wanted to get out of my hometown and just kind of do something. I wanted to see the world.
You wanted to make a difference.
I wanted to make a difference. I wanted to prove to myself. I felt like I had a lot of self-doubt, and I felt like, like I just had a lot of doubt, and I wanted to see, like, can I do it? Can I make it? Was more, I think, about boot camp. Can I get through boot camp first?
Yeah.
And can I go and can I do something like the military? And also, so my grandfather, Ralph Bailey, and I don't know how accurate this is, but I've always heard that he wanted a grandchild that served in the military and a grandchild that played for the Longview Lobos.
Oh, nice.
My brother played for the Lobos for a little bit. And I served in the military. I was the only grandchild to serve in the military. And so there was a lot of different reasons. And my uncle, who was, I think, Special Forces in the Army, Ford, he was the one that was like, hey, go Air Force. They take care of their guys. I was like,
they do.
Cool. I'll go Air Force.
They do take care of their guys.
And I went Air Force. And
I remember going to the DFAC all the time. And those guys, the soldiers in the Air Force, the airmen would just leave their plates on their tables. And then you would actually have soldiers come pick it up for you. I'm like, man, we never did that.
Yeah.
We always had to throw our own trash out. So you lucked out. The Air Force is a good decision, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And so it says, so you went to boot camp. Where'd you go to boot camp?
I went at Lackland down in San Antonio, did my little, I think, 6 weeks of boot. It feels like it's so long ago, 22 plus years ago. Because I retire in June of 2023 from the military, call it a career, but I can't believe I'm already 22 years plus.
Yeah.
So yeah, I went and did boot camp down in San Antonio, and then I did tech school, security forces, military police, Air Force kind of version of military police, security forces at Lackland.
Yeah.
And then I went to McConnell, Kansas, with the great state of Kansas, McConnell, Wichita, Kansas.
Oh, my gosh.
That was my first duty station. Mobility Command. We called it another Missed Christmas because we were always gone. Air Mobility Command.
Do you remember any of your drill sergeants in boot camp or your training?
No, I try not to.
Because some people actually remember their drill sergeant as being their first male figure, believe it or not. Some soldiers, they don't have a father growing up, and then they get to boot camp, and the first drill sergeant they see is tough on them, but it's also their first father figure.
And I can't remember his name, but I was actually deployed to Iraq with one of my security forces tech school instructors.
Oh, nice.
And it's weird.
You knew him from somewhere.
Because I was like an E4. I was like a senior airman, and he was like an E6. But it was like weird. I was like, oh man, like I'm deployed with this. And yeah, he was like, I guess he had done a special duty assignment. I guess drill instructor. Went back and we were actually deployed together down the road, which was crazy.
That's cool. So, what kind of soldier would you say you are? If you can choose one word of the soldier you are, what would you say? One word. Some people say precise. Some people say tough. Some people say whatever. What do you think?
Determined.
Go ahead and go a little bit more in depth with your determined.
Well, so I've always tried to act like Captain America, but I've always felt like Steve Rogers. I've always I've never felt like the biggest. I've never felt like the fastest. I've never felt like the strongest. But I always thought and I tell this to my son a lot, talent is great and natural born talent is wonderful, but hustle and heart. I grew up watching Rocky and Rambo and those
love
80
those
movies.
movies,
The
yeah.
Last Starfighter is my favorite movie of all time. The
Last Starfighter.
Last Starfighter.
Wow.
1984, I think.
Yeah.
But I grew up and I always felt like, the underdog mentality of never give up and have hustle. And if you can out hustle someone, if you can have more heart, and the guy that gets knocked down and doesn't get up, but if you can get back up, and I feel like a hypocrite for saying this because I a lot of times in my life, I just want to call it quits. I want to just say, I'm done life. I'm ready to give up. But I try to be that example to my children, and I try to be that warrior. So on EPRs, evaluation performance reports,
Yes.
they call it there's this bullet statement, and we call it a tireless warrior. So-and-so is a tireless warrior. And that has always stuck with me because I've always wanted to. I think of this warrior that is just whooped down, beat down from battle. And I felt like that carrying all my gear and stuff coming in from a long day of patrol in Iraq and trying to just shuffling back to my dorm. But being that tireless warrior where, okay, you just came in, you're beat down, you're worn out. Oh, but another battle has to be fought and you've got to go fight it. And being that just worn down, like, but Batman, here's another reference. Yeah. Batman Begins, he says like, it's like, haven't you given enough? He's like, no, I haven't given everything. And I've always felt like there's more to give. There's always more for me to give.
You remind me of the Command Sergeant Major from the movie We Were Soldiers.
Oh yeah.
Mel Gibson? Mel Gibson.
Yeah, Sam Elliott.
Sam Elliott, how even though he was tired, he was beat down, he still did his job. He still helped his soldiers.
And you remember when Mel Gibson, like he was the first one on the battlefield?
Yeah, and he was the last one. Man,
he was the last one.
You won't have people like that anymore.
No.
You won't have at all.
And as a senior NCO, E7 senior NCO, NCO, non-commissioned officer in charge at Family Readiness, I always was like, okay, I need to be the first one there and I need to be the last one to leave. Yeah. And if anybody needs to make the sacrifice, stay late, do whatever, it needs to be me because you lead by example. I'm not going to be one of these senior NCOs that just like, all right, it's my turn to chill out and relax. And hey, you airmen, I'll go take out the trash. And I told Ben, my director, I said, I'll go take out the trash. You want to go during my interview? I was like, hey, you need to go take out the trash. I'll go take out. I mean, I'll go do what needs to be done. I want to be counted among the team. I want to be on the team,
Yeah, it sounds like you're somebody who has a lot of initiative, somebody who puts a lot of work and effort into whatever it is that you do. Like you were saying, I bet you whatever job you have, garbage man, toilet cleaner, mechanic, you'd still probably be the best at each one.
Well, I'll tell you this right now. I suck at being a husband, and I really kind of suck at being a father. And at the end of my life,
and you're admitting that to me right now.
Yes, I absolutely suck at it. And
if you suck at it, why don't you try to improve it?
Every day I try to do something a little bit better, but it seems like sometimes the more
one step forward, two steps back.
One step forward, two steps back. But at the end of my life, if I can have been a good father and a good husband, I don't care. At the end of my life, the military is not going to be there. My family is going to be there.
That's what.
And
sometimes the military is family.
Yeah, sometimes they are. Sometimes
some of my best friends are former friends of mine who we've gone to war together.
Right.
We've sang songs, even though I can't sing worth nothing. But we've sang songs. Yeah. We've done random stuff that's not supposed to be done by soldiers. We've had fun together, and sometimes they end up being my family that I needed all along.
And when you've been deployed and you've been into situations overseas, that even amongst Air Force, even amongst military, you look at that person in a hallway, and it could be 6 months, a year down the road, and you make eye contact and you have that connection that we've done something that very few people have done.
Not many people can say that.
Not many people have. We've seen things that very few people have seen.
Yeah. Wow.
You have that connection.
That's crazy.
So I completely understand that brotherhood.
So you talked about family. When did you? I guess you've been previously married, or you are married.
I am married to.
How long?
Oh man, my wife's gonna kill me.
I always say that question.
13 plus years, 14 years, going on.
Don't worry, I'm not gonna ask. I'm not gonna ask when you were married.
13 plus years. July 26, 2008.
So it's been tough. Was it tough on her every time you got deployed?
Well, actually, we started dating when I was in Iraq. We were pen pals.
Oh, okay.
Which was my mom kind of set us up. She's a school teacher in Longview at the time.
Nice.
And I was overseas, and my mom's like, "Hey, I got this teacher. you want to start writing her? And I didn't even meet my wife until when I got back from Iraq.
Which deployment is this one?
My last one. So I started being a pen pal with her in January of
wow.
2007, and I didn't see her for the first time until August of 07.
So please tune in. This is Angelo Rocha with Vet for Vets. When we get back, we're going to continue talking to AJ about his life in the military. Thank you.
Accelerated Graphics and Science 101 East Renfro, Sweet C in Burleson, Texas, can handle all of your graphic needs. Need a banner or promotional products for your business? They got you covered. T-shirts and caps for your group. All you need to figure out is if you want them screen printed or embroidered. How about some slick graphics on that hot ride to make you stand out from the crowd? Accelerated Graphics and Science can handle anything you throw at them. Located at 101 East Renfro Street, Sweet C in Burleson, Texas, go in and see them. Call them at 817-991-0523 or reach them on the web at www.acceleratedgraphics.net. They are loud and proud and want to serve you. Accelerated Graphics.
Fast Track Student Loans can get your student loans out of default, stop any wage garnishments, stop collection calls, and stop seizure of your tax refund. Give yourself a break. Stop the stress and get your student loan payments down to as little as $25 a month based on what you can afford to pay. 800-709-4395, 800-709-4395, 800-709-4395, 800-709-4395.
Out-of-date carpet giving you the blues? Tired of your old dingy and broken tile? Let my friends at the Floor Store in Cleveland, Texas give your home the makeover it deserves. This is Old Taco Joe coming to you for the Floor Store. Whether it's carpet, tile, wood flooring, or real wood laminate, the Floor Store can cover all of your flooring needs. Located at 405 West Henderson Street in Cleveland, Texas, owner Brent Harris can help. Shower tile, tub surrounds, even backsplashes. Give them a call today at 817-641-9444. The Floor Store, they got you covered.
Welcome back to Vet for Vets. This is Angelo Rocha. I am your host. I am here with my special guest, AJ, who is our Veteran Services Officer of Johnson County. If you have any questions for AJ, please send us a message, ask him any question. He'll answer it, or he'll send you to the next person that probably knows the answer. First off, I want to mention that Joco Community Radio is proud to be the voice of Johnson County, Texas, and is live 24/7 on the TuneIn Radio Network. TuneInJoco.com is the place to find all the ways to listen and watch, and the station app is also available for free. You heard that right. It's available for free on all Android and Apple devices. Simply search the store. Check out our lineup and more at the JocoCommunityRadio.com. This episode and more are brought to you by Patriot Claims, making your insurance work for you. Reach out to your Texas sales rep at 844-TEX-HAIL. That's 844-839-4245. And also be sure to dress your arms and more at thetiffy.com. If you haven't been there yet, if you have Christmas is coming up, folks. If you're thinking about getting your wife a special gift, Tiffany has some really cool little items that you can get for your arms, especially some really great arm sleeves, little shirts and stuff like that. If you really need a gift, her website is fantastic. So, AJ, I do this thing where I talk about wisdom, veteran wisdom. Okay, so, and every week I usually try to pick a certain words of wisdom for the veteran. And today's words of wisdom are about giving up. The number one reason people give up so fast is because they tend to look at how far they still have to go instead of how far they have to come, or they have come. But it's a series of small wins that can give you the most significant success or successes. Be patient. So now, if a veteran is listening right now to you, what is a word of advice or a word of wisdom that you can tell them?
I would just say, yeah, just every day, just keep fighting. One day at a time, one act at a time, one thought at a time, one second at a time. Uh, just keep on keeping on,
I love that.
I've been, 150, 100 plus degree heat with 50 pounds of gear on, and you're miserable, and you close your eyes and you're like, am I ever going to see home again? And you have to have something inside you to keep you just pushing forward. And I know life is hard. I know life is tough. We're all messy people. We have messy lives. We fight and we bicker, and life just throws us for loops, and things never go. Even when we try to make things great, Christmas time, you try to make things great, you get gifts, but it's never as good as you want it to be. And you just have to I love the Rocky series. I have my son. We watched We watched four of the
Love 'em.
Rocky movies. The last one was Ivan Drago. He's fighting, and we haven't seen Rocky 5. I really don't count Rocky
If he
5.
lives or if he dies, he dies.
Yes, if he dies, he
Yeah.
dies. And but just life is going to throw so many things at you, and you have no idea what it's going to throw at you, and you have to try to look at your failures as a learning experience. I do men's physique competitions. I've done two. I got first my last show in 2021, and I got second and third in this previous show in November. But it teaches you so much about what you can do better and what you can learn from it. And you always, I tell Aiden, my son, every time we go into karate, like, you don't have to be monumentally better, but just try to be a little bit better at something and learn from it and out hustle everybody else. If he says, do something, you yell, yes, sir, or no, no, sir, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. And you let the instructor tell you, hey, kind of tone it down. But you be that warrior, you be aggressive, you out hustle. He says run, you don't stop. You run and you run and you run and you give. And you can always, I think the mind just kind of tells us, hey, stop, stop. We want to stay in that comfort zone. But you keep pushing, and you don't let that mind tell the body, what to do.
That's
So it's
I
tough,
agree with
though.
you.
It
It
is
is.
tough. It is tough because I know that we can be our own worst enemies.
That's a good reply, and you know this because you say you've had issues as a husband, and you know
Oh,
it's
yeah.
because you're thinking of too many things at a time instead of doing what you said, one
Well,
step at a time,
yeah.
one thing at a time.
I used to do scuba diving, and I would see these people, and they're just like floating around, and I'm like trying to pat, but I had to kind of relax and let myself float. And it seems like sometimes the harder you fight, the less you actually do, or the less constructive things that you do. And sometimes, like me being a Christian, just turning to God and being like, Lord, I can't fix this issue. I I don't have, true strength, I think, is knowing that you don't really have any strength of your own. It's a false strength. And even when I do my men's physique competitions, I know that one day this body is going to be dust, that it's strength and speed and all this athletic ability or whatever else, it's just fleeting, and I know that life is short and you have a very small window.
It
And
is.
you just take advantage of every single day. And mental awareness in the military, mental people with all kinds of mental issues. And I know the suicide
It's a big
prevention
one.
is,
It's a
especially
big
this
one.
time of year, Christmas
Yes.
time. And so just finding resources, leaning on people. I lean on my faith and my family. I just, my wife says, look at your blessings, look at all the blessings around you. Like, look at the family that God has given you. Military members, look at the brotherhood, look at what you've done. Look at this. And I don't care if you've served a day or 20 years, I once had this sergeant say, like, you've earned your citizenship. You signed the dotted line, whether for whatever reasons you went out and you did something that most people aren't willing to do for whatever reasons, but you did it. And so
It's weird that you're saying that. You kind of hit on something with me because that's why I joined the military.
Yeah.
Because I'm an immigrant.
Okay.
I didn't tell you this, but I'm an
Yeah.
immigrant. My family migrated here in the late 80s, mid to late 80s. And all those years being in this country, our family thrived and was successful and whatever we decided to venture out. And all of a sudden, right near the end of high school, I wanted to do something for the country that's done a lot for me. So I
Right.
joined the military for the sake of serving for the country that's given a lot to my family.
That's
so I know what
awesome.
you mean.
Yeah.
So that's good. So let's go talk a little bit about you. Okay. So how would you say you right now, encompassing everything that you know about yourself, what kind of soldier and father would you say you are?
If I'm going to be real honest,
Yes, honesty.
I would say struggling. And I'm going to be brutally honest. I'm going to say struggling. I struggle every day. I used to go home on the way home because I used to to commute from Longview to the base out here in Fort Worth, and it was 170 miles.
Oh,
And
goodness
every
gracious.
drive, I would be like, I could have done this better. I could have spoken. I'm such an introverted person. It's hard for me to really come out and try to. I've always wanted to be like the leader that I
Yeah.
see other.
You're hard on
NCOs.
yourself.
Yeah.
You're very hard on yourself.
And I would beat myself up and said, I should have spoken up about this. I should have said this. I should have done that. And it seems like, we all have issues, right? And me learning how to be an autistic husband, a father, autistic Christian, autistic soldier, and dealing with all the baggage that I have, and having to lead a family, it's monumental. I thought being a soldier was tough. Being a husband and dad is man, And my wife would be like, "Well, suck it up, Buttercup. We all got issues, but it's tough. It's tough to try to not just be a husband and father, but to be a husband and father that leads a family in faith and tries to lead the family that they want God, they think the direction that God wants them to lead."
Do you think working out and being the gym person you are, do you think that helps with your mental state?
Yeah, I was such a nerd in high school. I don't think I ever touched a weight. It wasn't until I got my first deployment, I went to the Emirates, and all I did was like eat pasta and chicken and didn't know what I was doing.
Up.
I was looking at the big dudes, and I was like, okay. And I put on like 20 pounds in like 90 days. And
Wow.
So I kind of really developed a love for fitness then. And I've kind of been carrying, I was a personal trainer. I got I have a bachelor's of science in kinesiology from University of Texas at Tyler.
I was going to ask about your education. I saw that here. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Well, on every single degree I've gotten, has served in the military. So I have an associate's in criminal justice through the Community College of the Air Force. I have a bachelor's of science in kinesiology. And then I have a master's of arts in Christian education from right up the road, Southwestern Baptist Theological Seminary. And every single degree that I've gotten, I was either active duty or reservist.
So it is possible for somebody to do it while they're in the military. Because some people, it's difficult.
It's tough, like being on the range, firing for security forces, and having index cards in your pocket, and then always knowing, like, man, it seemed like clockwork. Like I always had a paper due after a reserve weekend, or always had a major exam right after reserve weekend. And but it was tough because everybody's like, you go back to the hotel or wherever, and everybody's relaxing, and you're studying, you're having to write a paper, you got your laptop with you. But it teaches you work ethic and time management and all that fun stuff.
So AJ, you are our veteran services officer. What exactly brought you and guided you towards the job that you're currently with the veteran services offices? Like, tell us the little story of how that happened.
Well, so as a reservist, I just graduated seminary with my master's, and I had just applied and gotten the special duty assignment at Family Readiness. And they, the current transition assistance program manager, we call it TAP in the Air Force, Soldier for Life.
In the Army, that's what they call it.
Soldier for Life. You help transition. So everybody has to go through it. If you're coming off active duty, then you have to do the transition assistance program, and it helps you transition into civilian life. As a reserve, anytime we're on like long-term, like 6-month, 180-day plus orders. And so the full-time TAP manager was leaving, and she asked if I wanted to take the position. I was like, I don't have anything going on. Just graduated. So I did that. And I ran the transition assistance program for the 301st Fighter Wing for the Air Force for 3 years, from 18 to 21. And I had to come off those orders as a reservist. And was kind of looking for something. And it's tough. I get it. Like you're the military jargon, military lingo and everything else. And all of a sudden you're having to write civilian resumes and prepare for job interviews. And, you're nervous. It's like, it's an environment that you're not accustomed to. It's kind of like when I got back from Iraq, I knew the roads in Iraq better than I knew the roads in my hometown.
I know what you mean.
Yeah. It's crazy. Like you're just like, wow.
All the protocols you had over there, without like no turn signals. Left, right. Yes. All of
driving into traffic to avoid a milk jug, that kind of stuff. It's just crazy. So it's a lot. You feel like a fish out of water.
Yeah.
So I did that, and I wanted to do something I felt passionate about working with veterans. I always want to, even after you you lose even after you retire from the uniform, even when you hang up the uniform, my Air Force core values, service before self, excellence in all I do, integrity first, those core values, whether I'm in uniform or not, I try to live those out.
Yeah.
And I firmly believe as a military member, I remember Charles Barkley back in like the 80s and 90s, like, I'm not a role model. Well, yeah, you are, whether you want to be or not. And I feel like military members, if someone knows you served, you're a role model. Whether you want that responsibility or not, you're a role model. And we always want to give back. We serve. We should be the people that eat last in a line. We should be the people that are serving continually for our country. Like that just doesn't go away. And I hold military members to a very, very high standard, probably an unrealistic standard, but because I just feel like we're the warriors. We are the defenders. We are the protectors. If anybody needs to be in shape, if anybody needs to have that warrior, it's us. We are that front line. We are the line between the weak and the people that want to harm the weak. We are the sheepdogs. We keep the wolves at bay. We're that line, whether we're in the military or not. I have such a strong passion about that. And I want to continue to serve even after the uniform is over, even after I've hung up the uniform and called it a military career. And so that's kind of what kind of drove me to looking at maybe, civilian veteran helping organizations and helping agencies.
And that's when you found this job here for Johnson County.
Right. Yeah. I'd applied to like 18 places, and I applied with Ben Layton, who's awesome Army National Guard. He's a range official still. Yeah. So he knows exactly, he's got kids my age. And so number one, he knows what it's like to have kids and kids get sick. I don't get sick because kids get sick. And then also he knows what it's like to have that National Guard, like that 1 week in a month where you come in and you got to do it. And then you go right back to work on a Monday. And he knows that. And I was like, well, yeah, he gets it. And so, yeah, it was such an awesome, like I applied within a week. He didn't play around. Like he didn't play these emotional little games or whatever. He's like, hey, he called on a Sunday. He texted me, said, hey, I want you for this position. He hired myself and Jenny, who's a Marine Corps, tough woman.
Yeah.
He hired her, and she helps her and James run the Cleburne office. And I am the Robin to Ben's Batman at the Burleson location.
Nice.
Yeah.
So how long have you been there now?
I started, I think, September 28th. I had orientation, and that was my first day, kind of half day. So I'm a newbie, so I don't have all the answers. I will kindly refer you to.
But you know the people that do.
I know the people that do, and I know that Ben he has been such a mentor to us, and he runs ragged because he's kind of constantly between Burleson and Cleburne because he's trying to train Jenny, and James had been there, but he hadn't really been there that long. Yeah. And so essentially he's got 3 new folks, and he's the only one with the knowledge, and he's accredited, meaning he's mainly with the Texas Veterans Commission. And so he can look you up in we call it VBMS, Veteran Benefit Management System. He can see all the correspondence that VA has sent you and everything else. None of us have that credentials yet. We're in the process of getting it, but he is we call it SME in the military, subject matter expert. And we were calling there. Cleburne's calling him, like asking him questions, and we're calling, and I'm talking, like bouncing stuff off of him. And it's been great because, I feel like I'm back to being a part of a team.
Yeah. You're also helping those that serve this country.
Right. Exactly.
That's a big deal.
Yeah.
So what does your job actually entail? So I'm a veteran. Okay. I'm going through some stuff. Yeah. All of a sudden I call your office and I get in touch with you. What are you able to do for me that helps me out as a veteran that needs help?
Well, first and foremost, we do claims. So maybe you have a condition or something that is service connected. And that's a big thing with the VA is, whatever it is, it has to have happened while you served in the military.
While you're contracted.
Yes, exactly. There had to have been an in-service event that happened that has caused you a current condition, like, I had a broke nose or whatever, but it got fixed and I don't have any issues. Well, that's not really, it has to be something that's causing you aggravation that adversely affects your life today. Right. Yes. And so we do a lot of claims, and we will help file. It's your claim. We make that and we're not the VA. Like I have no control over how fast or how slow the VA moves. And you have to realize the VA deals with hundreds of thousands of claims. And I usually tell people it's like 6 months, give VA like 6 months.
That's actually a decent amount of time.
Yeah.
6 months.
Yeah. And I've heard longer, and sometimes I've heard shorter, but we help primarily deal with claims, and we help folks. They come in and they bring the catchphrase is new and relevant, or evidence, evidence of, hey, this is the disability that I'm filing for, and this is how it's service connected. They, whether it's civilian doctor records, civilian medical records, VA medical records, whatever, you bring in that, and we sit down, and hopefully you've got your 214, your discharge paperwork from the military, whatever branch, and we can help you get that. That's a long process too sometimes.
Yes, it is.
But and then we gather all that, we input it into our little system, and we help you file the paperwork and get that sent to the VA.
That's good. So
Yeah.
you're kind of a bridge between the
We
VA.
are very much so. We're a bridge, and we're not the claimant, but we will help get you, and we kind of know a little bit of the lingo of the VA, and we try to help guide you, because you can file a claim on your own, but when we help you file a claim, we should have the expertise and knowledge, and we're getting there. It's a continuous process for us. We're training and we're learning every day to help get all the T's crossed and the I's dotted, make sure the form is good to go, and get you to sign it. Everything's digital now. I can have someone digitally sign a form on their phone now, which is awesome. We had some guy, like Ben was like, yeah, some guy was out in like the country tending cows or something. He was signed his VA form on the phone. We got it sent off. So sometimes if you have all your paperwork, all your medical evidence, and your military paperwork, you can come into the office and we can get the form sent out. We call it a 526EZ. It's your claim form. We can have it sent out the same day in office.
Do you want to give out your information on the radio, like phone number wise or anything like that?
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to, that way people know who to call.
Right.
So if you want to, I have it right.
Yeah, it's 817-202-2971. That is our Burleson office, 817-202-2971. And my email is asjohnson, JOHNSON, @johnsoncountytx.org. And our Cleveland office, if you live, we try to tell people, whoever you're closer to, if you live in Cleveland, live in Burleson, but the Cleveland office is 817-556-6351. So we're located in the Cleveland courthouse, and we're also located in the Burleson sub courthouse, right down here across from the high school.
Where that's
yeah.
at. What do you think about the new
Elk Drive.
renovation there that they've done?
It's cool.
They've revamped the whole building.
I've got my own office. I'm putting nerd stuff in it. I've got a My Hero Academy. My son and me, we watch My Hero Academy. We're anime. So
our family is Studio Ghibli.
Hayao
Miyazaki.
You know what? Me and my daughter Bailey and Aiden and my son, we watched a few of the Studio Ghibli animations. Was it My Neighbor Totoro?
Yeah, My Neighbor Totoro. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's a good one.
We're big into anime, big into Marvel and stuff like that. My son builds Gundams. Yeah, he is a Gundam man. He can put together Gundams like nobody.
Yeah. When I originally came up with the idea for Vet for Vets was many years ago. Yeah. And the reason I wanted to do it is because I wanted to humanize the fact that a lot of people don't understand what it's like to be a veteran.
Right.
And a lot of people are starting to open up their eyes and realize veterans are just like us.
Yeah.
Yes, they have a little bit more of a traditional way of doing things. They'll always be facing the exit door of a restaurant. They'll always do things the way they drive. They always have more mental issues, sadly, because of the way we were treated because of stress. If you could define yourself of when you were a little kid and how you are now, what would you say? Or I can't say define yourself. How would you say life is different now that you're an adult and grown up compared to when you were a little kid?
And I don't like to say this, but I'd say hardened.
You're a battle-hardened soldier.
Yeah.
Or a battle-hardened human being.
And I won't go into a lot of details on the events that I've been a part of with the military. I'm a disabled.
I try not to talk about
vet, but yeah, I would say that the military does change you, and I'm definitely not the 19-year-old that E1 Airman Basic enlisted.
If you can go back in time, would you redo any? Would you renege on your contract and not do it again?
I didn't know. I think I've always had autism, but I don't know how I did it. I look back and I'm like, Lord, you carried me through this career, and because I don't know how I got through some of the times that I got through.
You think maybe it's something to do with him? Maybe it's something to do with him.
I know for a fact there was times when I was literally on my knees, there was nothing I could do about certain situations, and I was pouring my heart out to God, crying out to God because there was literally nothing I could do during certain times that I experienced in the military, both personal and combat related.
How'd you get through it though? I mean,
I realized
because there's times where I feel like there's nothing that can help me, but something always comes along and helps me.
Well, so I'm all about hustle and always about heart.
Yes.
But I realized that I specifically remember a time in my life I realized like, wow, I remember, was it the slogan, the Army of One, being Army of One?
That's right.
And I realized,
yeah.
I realized like I don't have the power. I don't have the strength. I am in a situation for the first time in my life that I feel like I am completely helpless at. And all I could do was get on my knees and cry out to God and like, Lord, I don't know how this situation is going to end. I don't know what's going to happen, because it's never, God never promises that it's going to just end up the way you want it to end up.
It never does.
So, but I was like, Lord, I don't know how this is going to end up, but all I can ask is that you just carry me through this, because I can't do it. For the first time in my life, I felt absolutely powerless, and I couldn't physically, I couldn't will my, like, we're military, we're strong, we're tough, we will ourselves, we're in, but for the first time I was like, I can't win this. I can't do this. And God sent a person named Bobby, one of my best friends, another Air Force guy. And we played Madden, and he whooped me mercilessly. We played NCAA football. I've got an Akron Zips tattoo because that was the first random team we picked. All we did was play NCAA football and prayed and cried together through a time that was just devastating to me. And then on a second deployment, then I had some combat stuff go down and everything else, and saw some stuff, and just wow. So it is kind of, you try not to let life kind of take your joy. And that's why I'm so big on having that intrinsic, my faith is what has carried me through. And I have a wonderful family. I have a wonderful wife, Liz, that I do not deserve. She puts up with more crap behind closed doors than any other woman she is the strength. She is the strongest person in our family. And I have a wonderful daughter named Bailey, who I love so much, and a wonderful son named Aiden. And God has just blessed me beyond measure. And I never thought I would have those blessings. And it's just been
sometimes do you feel like you deserve it?
No, I never do. I'm always, because I don't try to give my wife and family a lot of crap, but I always, I'm not perfect, and I struggle a lot, and I'm just trying to figure this out. And I'm also trying to be a good husband and father, but it's tough. And I hate saying it's tough, because it's tough for everybody. It's tough for everybody. Yeah. But man, God has just blessed it. And I never thought that I would have a family like this. And God has blessed me with such a rock solid wife. And we're complete opposites. Wow. Like we did a premarital counseling thing, and they said, we scored low on the test, but we 13 plus years, and it's been tough, but we're still together. We're still here. And a wonderful son, and a wonderful, beautiful young woman, young daughter, Bailey. So just awesome.
AJ, you got a couple more seconds before this show ends. If the veteran is feeling depressed or suicidal right now, what can you do as a person to calm him down or make him feel better? I'm calling you right now. Yeah. Talk to me face to face. What can you do to calm me down and make me feel better?
You're not alone. And even if you feel like you're alone, I promise, guys come into our office, guys and gals come into our office just to talk sometimes, just to tell us their story. You're not alone. Whether you believe it or not, God's with you. Your military family is with you. You are not alone, and we all struggle. I promise you.
That was AJ's advice. Reach out to him at the Veterans Servicing Center. Love you guys. Have a good night.
From Burleson to Venus and Grandview to Godley, this is the voice of Johnson County, Joco Community Radio.
Why have thousands of